world is going on with Rob Carson? Which is what my wife asks me every single day. Hi, welcome to the show. So I'm hanging out. It's a Sunday morning. I'm in my glorious studio here. I'm wearing a Comrex ball cap because Comrex is a great product, and I'm just sitting here waiting for the Chiefs to play. I'm back home in Kansas City, hoping that the Kansas City Chiefs will finally win the Super Bowl, which hasn't happened since before I was born. Anyway, just want to say welcome to the show. I thought I would comment on some of the big events of the day. There have been a lot of things. There's a lot of things that have happened in the last 24 hours. And some political, some not so much. Let me just bring down this microphone just a skosh. As we get into the day's events, talk a little bit about Iran, some major stuff going on there. Oh, my God in heaven, some major stuff going on there. I've got some really actually very funny things that I want to share with you here as well. So we're going to get this thing started here real quick. I want to start off with something that is not political. Maybe, I'm going to date myself here. There was a time when rock albums were epic. There was a time when an album was something gigantic. I was a kid. Hello, Victor. Welcome to the show. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. Absolutely epic. Let me make sure my headphones are cranked here, guys, because I'm having some. I want to make sure this sounds absolutely awesome. 1, 2, 3. Despite my voice. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay. But there was a time when albums were amazing. Right now, you can do a song because you download a song, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I mean, I like Five Finger Death Punch. I really like Five Finger Death Punch. I think they're fantastic. And would I buy their album? I can't remember the last time I bought an album. I bought a single. And I do enjoy singles very much. But there used to be a thing where there was a freaking album, and the album was awesome, and it was 12 songs or whatever, and Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon was amazing. One of the other ones, there was an album called 2112, and it was by Rush, the band Rush. Neil Peart played drums for Rush. I don't believe he did any vocals. I could be wrong. This man was an icon, and he died at age 67 a couple days ago. 67 years old. Foo Fighters frontman Dave Grohl, who's a freaking genius, I love him, shared the news on Instagram. He said goodbye to a true giant of rock and roll. He passed away, I guess it was Tuesday in Santa Monica. Brain cancer. This guy would play 40 drums on stage. And there was a point where rock bands, rock artists, they had these legendary drummers. I don't even remember who it was, but there was a guy who actually turned the drums upside down. Years ago, I saw the Police in Washington, D.C. And incredible drummers. I'm trying to remember the name of the hold on, the Police drummer. Hold on a second. I'll find it. Police drummer. Because I remember going, wow. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Stuart Copeland. Okay, so we saw Copeland. This was like 10 years ago, my wife and I. And watched Stuart Copeland just sweat his ass off and play an unbelievable concert. And all I was really focused on, and listen, I could have focused on Sting, whatever. But Stuart Copeland was the star of the show. And so there are some legendary drummers. Drummers mean everything. And Neil Peart was a brilliant drummer, and I'll never forget, and I've listened to a lot of great albums in my life, Kansas Leftoverture, Pearl Jam's 10, Nirvana's In Utero, all of these bands that had, and of course Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, but there was one that I remember. I remember the day that my cassette player, yes, a cassette player is a little tapey thing that you had in your car in the 1980s and early 90s. I remember when my cassette player ate 2112. 2112 was an album by Rush that was a freaking masterpiece. And I pulled my car to the side of the road. I did a little tribute to myself of Rush in 2112, and it ate my cassette. But Neil Peart was amazing. Here's a little bit of Neil Peart from 2015, probably right before he found out he had brain cancer. God bless Neil Peart of Rush. Neil Peart was a genius. Neil Peart was a genius. Had a 3-year battle with brain cancer. He picked up drums at the first time he picked up the sticks at 13 years old. 13 years old. Said, I got a pair of sticks, a practice pad, and lessons. Dave Grohl learned on pillows. Did you know that? Did you know that Dave Grohl learned on pillows? He didn't have a drum set, so he played on pillows. Unreal. Hi, Dave Campbell. How's Chicago, my brother? They sold millions of albums, Rush did, in a career that spanned 19 studio albums, multiple live collections, as well as elaborate box sets, according to the RIAA, Rush's album sales statistics, put them third behind the Beatles and Rolling Stones for the most consecutive gold or platinum albums by a rock band. Rush ranked 79th in U.S. album sales with 25 million units, blah, 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 blah. Neil Peart was a freaking genius. Teach your children to listen to the great albums of the past. Before I get into the politics of the day, when I was 4 years old, I sneaked into my sister Georgia's bedroom, and she had a record player. And I played Led Zeppelin's first record. And I played Whole Lotta Love, and I sat there and I went, wee, 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 I mean, I listened to Led Zeppelin's self-titled record at 4 years old. And Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Those were the first records I heard as a friggin' toddler. And then I grew older, and I grew older, and I grew older, and I listened to Kansas Leftover. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is a gift from God. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is the greatest album ever. I have listened to it. Oh, my God. I remember in Columbia, Missouri, in Neola, Iowa. I listened in my car to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. I listened to it in my bedroom. I still listen to it every day. Well, not every day, but every time I hear it, it sounds like the first time I heard it. I never get tired of it. I never get tired of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. 2112 was that way for me. 2112 is a masterpiece. It's like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony for my generation. Dear God in heaven. Glorious, glorious, glorious. Neil Peart was a genius. Neil Peart was a genius. And he did it without uttering a word. He didn't like to talk to interviewers. He didn't like to ham it up. He didn't like to be a star. He just played the effing drums, and he was good at it. It was glorious. I saw a list of the top drummers of all time. Neil Peart, I think, was 7. Buddy Rich was number 1. Buddy Rich is freaking unbelievable. Chad Potier, how you doing, my brother? Glad to have you here. Neil Peart. Wow. It's interesting to see so many tributes to Neil Peart. He's a freaking drummer. Who cares about the drummer, right? Phil Collins, brilliant drummer, by the way, as well. But there's something about a drummer. There's something about someone who is so extraordinary at drumming that they become more than just the guy sitting in the back of the band. Dave Grohl is one of those people. Phil Collins, one of those people. There are many great drummers who just go beyond just sitting back in the band and playing the drums. They become superstars. They become, I don't even know to say, they're just extraordinary. Neil Peart, I would venture to say, boy, he has to qualify for best. He has to qualify for the best drummer in the history of music. He really does. Incredible. Alan, how are you, my brother? Alan, you got to get here to Kansas City and have a cigar with me. Even though you're wrong about everything. You're wrong about everything. I mean, you're a nice guy, but god dang, you are so effing wrong about everything. Still, I like you. I don't know what it is about you, man. I like you. I think you're a good guy. Come here and I'll teach you some common sense. How about that? How does that sound? Parker, how are you doing, my friend? Parker, it's Rib. How are you? I saw your Facebook post heading downtown the other day on the Metro. Good to see you, my friend. You're growing to be quite a young man. I think you're awesome. Miss you guys. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the news of the day. There's a lot to get to. One of the biggest news items that I've seen today. When I was a kid, there was a president named Ronald Reagan, and I was 14 years old, and Ronald Reagan got on the microphone and said to the world, but it was not broadcast, that he was going to destroy the Soviet Union was over and bombing would begin in 5 minutes, and everybody freaked out. And I went, man, that is a badass mother ever. He was doing a mic check, and he said, the world is over. We're going to begin bombing the Soviet Union in minutes, and it freaked people out. Donald Trump is that times 1,000. You may not like Donald Trump, and honestly, I don't care if you do. I really don't care. I'm going to tell you I'm the biggest fan of this freaking president for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is he's giving Congress and Washington, D.C. what for like has never been given before. He is kicking ass and taking names. I printed a list off of 300 things that he's done since he took office. Lowest unemployment rate for blacks, Hispanics, Asians, most women in the workforce. More women in the workforce now than have ever been, and now there are even more women in the workforce than dudes. And he's doing it. And you can say whoever, whatever, he's doing it. And as much as, and I used to kind of laugh at the conservative establishment because they canonized Ronald Reagan. And listen, I love Ronald Reagan, but I'm going to tell you, as much as God bless Ronald Reagan, and my God, he was great, this president is leaving Ronald Reagan in his dust, and it's going to drive people crazy that I'm saying that. He has so far surpassed Ronald Reagan's legacy as far as accomplishment, the economy, the Dow Jones, etc. It's not even close. It's not even close what this president has done compared to Ronald Reagan. And one of the reasons is because he said, F you to Congress, I'm doing it on my own. He's saying F you. And he's doing it. And he's owning it. By the way, somebody said, Ginger Baker, drummers, yeah. Keith Moon, sure. Neil Peart, among others. Something incredible happened. In the last week, we had an Iranian general killed. Not assassinated. Bullshit. If you say assassinated, bullshit. This man had been pursued by the United States for 15 years, and we finally have a president who had the balls to say, get him. Iranian General Soleimani. We took him out at the airport in Baghdad. Why was he in Baghdad? You know why he was? because they were trying to take over the embassy like they have done in the past. Iran has done in the past. 1979 in Tehran, they took over the embassy. They took 52 hostages, and they kept them for 488 days. Ronald Reagan took over office the day that he was sworn in. They let him go. Why? Because strength means something. Do you really want to F with Ronald Reagan? That's what it came down to. Okay? They tried to take over. They did take over successfully with the help of this man, this General Soleimani. He was the heavy hand in Syria. He had a hand in the takeover of the embassy in Benghazi in 2012. He did. And the United States did nothing. The U.S. did nothing. Hillary Clinton did nothing. Barack Obama went to bed and flew off to Vegas for a fundraiser the next day. The U.S. ambassador and 3 other heroes died. This time, at this massive embassy in Baghdad, this president saw an attack. Why was Soleimani in town? Why was he in town? Because he wanted to do a victory dance. When they took over the embassy. And I had heard, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, I heard 16,000 people work for the embassy, which is absurd. I heard that on Friday. And this president said, okay, embassy being attacked, 15 months we've been waiting to kill this bastard. Let's take him out at the airport. And they did. Now, what has happened because of that? The Democrats have gone batshit crazy. Hi, Pat Lagan. What's up? Pat, tell your brother Jim I said hi. I haven't talked to him in a very long time. He was my best buddy in high school. Alan, Reagan weaponized Iran and Trump sold weapons to Saudi Arabia. Oh, you're high. Jesus, God in heaven. Alan, stop smoking the weed. All right? Stop smoking the sweet leaf, man. Okay? Stop smoking the sweet leaf, duder. I don't know what you got, but you were so effing wrong about everything. It's so crazy. God, Alan. I mean, you seem like a nice guy, but God dang. Here's the really cool thing. This is in outside of Shahid Beheshti University. A lot of the times that the Iranian leaders will put down flags. They will paint flags on the street like the United States, and you will walk over it as a sign of disrespect. Students outside of Shahid Beheshti University said, and this is this morning, earlier today, they would have none of it. Watch this. This is epic. This is gigantic. That students would not tread on the flag of America or Israel.
پا کجا
Do you know why they're not walking on our flag? Because they're tired of being lied to. Kirk says, hold that thought, I have to go poop. Well, it is Sunday morning. Trump warned Sunday, do not kill your protesters. The world is watching. General Soleimani killed 1,500 protesters just weeks ago. Iranian protesters. Candlelight ceremony late Saturday in Tehran turned into a protest with hundreds of people chanting against the country's leaders, including Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Police dispersed them with tear gas. This son of a bitch has been in control of the country for many years. 40 years, Iran has been controlled by radical imams. And maybe because of this president. And I mentioned Ronald Reagan earlier. I have a feeling that this could be the end of this regime in Iran. And I was right about a lot of things. I usually am right on a lot of things. And I know you've heard of Rush Limbaugh, and I wrote for Rush for 20 plus years. And I know you've heard of Sean Hannity and all these people, but I always get this right. My gut usually get things right. And I told you the other day that Iran made a colossal mistake with shooting down this airliner before we knew anything. I said the ham-handed morons in charge of Iran screwed this up and shot down an airliner outside of Tehran, and they were going to cover it up. I said this before anybody did, and now we know that they did. Now I'm saying to you, like Ronald Reagan did with Margaret Thatcher and Pope John Paul II with the Berlin Wall, I think we're on the verge of something like this happening in Iran. I really, really do believe this. The Iranian people were forced to mourn at the funeral of a despot, this General Soleimani that we took out. They were forced to mourn. There were people who were forced to wear traditional Iranian garb and go to this funeral and weep in front of the cameras. And if you didn't show up for the funeral, you would be shot in your house. And then we find out that the supreme leader, after Iran shot down an airplane and killed 176 people, tried to cover it up. Oh, let me show you this. Hold on, I'm going to show you this. This is remarkable, actually. So Iran, the leaders of Iran, they admitted that they shot down this airliner. And the reason being is because people have these freaking things called cell phones now. And they have cameras on them, and they could share them. And some people actually shared the footage of this plane being shot effing down. 176 people killed for no reason. Iran admitted to shooting down the Ukrainian jetliner, saying a gunner mistook a plane for a cruise missile and had 10 seconds to make a decision when his radio failed. How ungodly incompetent are you that you can't tell that this plane, this big jet, 737, what the hell it is a cruise missile? You can't tell that when it's 5,000 feet above the ground and it's flying out of Tehran? Are you out of your mind? Dear God in heaven, are you nuts? And then Iran, they admitted it, right? And then the ambassador claimed that the country is not cleared to cite of plane crash evidence. Okay. Iran's ambassador to the UK said that his country had not cleared the site. Had not. Well, problem is, look, there's a bulldozer. Clearing the site completely, attempting to completely whitewash the deaths of these people, clear the site of debris. But the amazing thing is, this thing called the, what is it called? I think it's called the interweb or something. So I don't know, whatever. And people have the ability to take a cell phone video and upload it to the internet. Now, they don't have that in China right now, I guess. They don't have that in North Korea. Certainly nobody has a friggin' cell phone in North Korea. But apparently in Iran, people could still do this. Here's a little footage of the video. And I mentioned this the other day. And again, I'm a small talk show host, whatever. And I'm not Rush Limbaugh, but I generally lead Rush Limbaugh and others with regard to my opinions. This is the footage. Okay, this is the footage of the plane being shot down. So pay attention. Okay, there it is. Watch. Now it's a missile. So it's not it's finding the heat trail of the jet. It's finding the contrail of the jet. And there it is. So the heat trail you could see, and it's very clear, and it becomes eventually absolutely undeniable that Iran shut it down because somebody has video footage of it. Several people have video footage of this thing. And finally, people realize that this actually happened. And I mentioned this the other day. I said this the other day. The reason why this plane went down, the reason why it went down was in Iranian incompetence. The reason why when Iran decided to react to our killing of General Soleimani, and they launched 22 missiles towards a U.S. air base, and they missed all of them. And I said, and many people said, well, actually, I said the opposite. Many people said the reason why that happened was they wanted to send a signal to the United States without provoking the U.S. to a massive response. And I said, no, it was just their effing incompetence. They are so ungodly incompetent, they can't do it. So when you kowtow and you worry that Iran is going to react with their million, military members, and they're going to destroy the U.S. and all this, and I said, nah, this is Baghdad, 1990, whatever, when George Bush was in office in Operation Desert Storm, and we crushed Saddam Hussein's army in less than a day. In less than a day. And that happened here. 22 missiles launched to a U.S. Air Force base. They did cause some damage. And then some of their missiles ended up in the middle of the desert hitting nothing. And I don't think it was because Iran was trying to send a signal to us that, hey, man, we could have done a lot worse. We could have done a lot worse. No, they're just so ungodly, stupid, and incompetent they couldn't get it done. And the same thing happened here. These idiots could not figure out that a plane that took off 2 minutes earlier from Tehran's airport, flying away from the capital, was a jet. Regardless of whatever, there are communications with the aircraft. There is a control tower there. I think it's run by a goat or something. I have no freaking clue. But it's clear that Iran is so ungodly, effing incompetent. They can't do anything right. We don't have anything to fear from these a-holes. And they shot down their own airliner because they didn't know what the hell they were doing. And then they tried to clear the site. And the Iranian people are saying, bullshit. The Iranian people are saying, no, you lied to us. And that big funeral the other day. Hello, Margie. Hello, Larry. Gonna watch the Chiefs today. Come on, baby. Woo. And the lie couldn't be covered up anymore. It couldn't be covered up anymore. Okay? Here's some footage of the plane coming down. And again, you've got CCTV coverage from different, I don't know if they have a Ring doorbell over there or whatever in front of their mud hut or whatever. But here's some footage. And again, there's so many cameras there, unlike in North Korea, that some footage is going to get out there. And eventually these bastards have to realize that people are being exposed to the truth. And I really believe this is going to be the fall of the imams. I really believe that we're going to see the fall of the imams in Iran to start. There's no imam in control of Iraq. Iran tried it. This is a bellwether change. Big things are going to happen. Big things are going to happen. Here's the CCTV coverage of the plane falling from the sky. Now, this is not a plane crashing. Okay, I want you to watch this. When a plane crashes, it's a whole piece of plane, and it goes down, and then it disintegrates when it falls. If there is some sort of and this is just common sense. I'm not an expert, obviously. I'm an expert at very few things. I'm really good at cooking, but anyway. But when a plane falls from the sky, it's in one piece and it disintegrates when it arrives on the ground. Here's what happened to this plane. This is the remnants of the plane hitting the ground. Pay attention, kids. This isn't a plane. This is pieces of a plane arriving on the ground because it was shot down by Iranian morons. Here it comes. Pay attention. There's no sound, obviously. There it is. Watch. Boom. Yeah. That's the debris landing. Not a plane. Not a plane. So Iran did admit to shooting down the airliner. Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said U.S. adventurism was to blame for Iran shooting the plane down. No. 40 years of BS from Iran caused that. 11 strikes by the Iranian military against U.S. targets, resulting in the death of at least one American contractor in the last month. Pete Buttigieg said that this was. Let me find. Pete Buttigieg, who, by the way, I believe is still a candidate for president, even though he's only run a town, the fourth largest town in Indiana. Pete Buttigieg said basically it was a tit for tat. It was a political tit for tat with Iran. The problem is there were 11 tits before the tat. As my friend Chris Plant said the other day on his radio show, there were 11 tits before the tat. Hello, Samantha. Hello, Kirk. Thanks for joining me. All right, we are live. Let me go ahead and just refresh. Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat candidate. Is she a candidate? Tulsi Gabbard, she's a representative, right? Tulsi Gabbard said that Iran is not to blame for murdering its own people. Okay, Iran is. Let me just clear this up again. Donald Trump, synonymous. Donald Trump responded by killing a general, one of the biggest sponsors of terrorism in the history of mankind. Killed him last week. The U.S. had been chasing this guy for 15 years. Barack Obama had the opportunity. Actually, it wasn't Barack Obama. Israel had the opportunity to take this son of a bitch out about 8 years ago. I think it was 2015, I believe. Israel wanted to kill this bastard, and Barack Obama's administration got in touch with the Iranian government and said, hey, here's the deal. The U.S. is going to, Israel is going to try and take you out. So they stopped it. They stopped the operation. Barack Obama's administration stopped this. It's not an assassination, by the way. It's not. It's an act of intervention. Now it's killing the terrorist. So Israel wanted to take this bastard out a long time ago. Barack Obama's administration in 2015 said, no, let's go ahead and contact Iran and say, hey, listen, Israel's trying to take you out, man. And he got away with it. And we finally took the bastard down. It was a good thing. Donald Trump did not do this because he just decided to distract from this is funny. Donald Trump did not do this to distract from his impeachment. That's bullshit. It did not. That doesn't even matter. Impeachment wasn't even headed to the Senate until Nancy Pelosi finally agreed to send it to the Senate a couple days ago, even though it was extremely important that they send it to the Senate. But Tulsi Gabbard and other Democrats who will, never sink. They keep sinking to new lows that are unheard of. Tulsi Gabbard says that the United States is to blame for this. Again, Donald Trump, 11 strikes against U.S. targets, an attempted takeover of an embassy in Baghdad, an attempted takeover, okay? Donald Trump sees this, flies in that night, Marines, to take control of the situation. General Soleimani is in town, presumably, and I do presume absolutely, to do a victory dance because he thought the U.S. Embassy was going to fall like it did in 1979 and like the embassy in Benghazi fell, and it didn't happen. And this president said, oh, he's in town? Let's blow his ass to kingdom come. But many Democrats are saying that he shouldn't have done it, even though he took out this terrorist. And then when Iran was so feckless and stupid and irresponsible and absolutely incompetent that they shut down an airliner with 176 people on board flying out of Tehran. Somehow that is Donald Trump's fault. Here is Tulsi Gabbard saying that it is Donald Trump's fault.
Pete Buttigieg shot out a tweet with regard to this airline that was shot out of the sky in Ukraine. He said innocent civilians are now dead because they were caught in the middle of an unnecessary and unwanted military tit for tat. My thoughts are with the families and loved ones of all the 176 souls lost aboard this flight. He's come under a lot of heat by a lot of different people. Ted Cruz says you're wrong. They were shot down by Iran. What do you make of the comment that he said there?
Buttigieg should know better, being a war veteran. And honestly, the United States, I should say the Democrat Party, have sold their mother effing souls. And every time you think that they can go lower, supporting late-term abortion, after-birth abortion, take over the healthcare system. I could go on and on and on. Every time the Democrats reach a new low, they go lower. And this is the latest. Now they're supporting a terrorist and are against a president who took the son of a bitch out. This should be a moment of victory. This should be a victory dance for the United States of America. Right now we have freedom ringing in Iran. Somehow, and this is crazy, if we find out that the regime of Khamenei in Iran, if that ends in the next couple of weeks, somehow it will be a net negative because Donald Trump had something to do with it. There's nothing negative about it. Iran, there have been freedom-seeking people in that country for decades. The Shah of Iran was a dictatorial a-hole. I get it. He suppressed his people. He enriched himself. He was deposed. Radical Islamists came in, but there were still genuinely freedom-loving people in that country, and I believe it. When you have to force people to go to a funeral and hold up signs for fear of death, there are freedom-loving people in Iran. Afghanistan, F Afghanistan. Iraq, who the hell knows? So done with this. But here is Tulsi Gabbard basically blaming America for something these incompetent idiots did.
I think this is a very, very unfortunate incident that's affected so many people and so many families. But this is one of these consequences of this escalation and this state of war that we are in. Having a foresight and being able to look at what the consequences are of going to war with Iran, I think, is a serious thing and a responsibility of the President Commander-in-Chief that I think he and his administration have not looked at.
Are you agreeing with Buttigieg on a comment based on that answer there?
My point is that this is a very unfortunate consequence of this escalation of war.
But it was Iran who owned the anti-aircraft missiles. It was their system that went off when this airline.
Are you implying that they did this intentionally?
No, I did not say that at all. The inference here is that Iran is responsible for this, and not the tit for tat. This is the consequence of this escalation of war.
You are so effing out of your mind. This country, Iran, has been doing this for decades. They've been murdering people. They've been the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the history of mankind. And Tulsi Gabbard, you are sick in your head. You are out of your effing mind. And this is why the Democrat Party is so goddamn wrong, and they are coming out on the wrong side of history on everything, and this is the latest. How could you say this? My God in heaven, what is wrong with the Democrat Party? If you are a member of the Democrat Party in good standing and you believe this shit, you need to get the hell out of the party, create your own party, or just give up on yourself, because honestly, you are not able to be helped anymore. If you don't recognize right from wrong, if you don't recognize that a baby should not be killed in the third trimester, dear God in heaven, you are broken. You are broken. If you don't believe that people thrive when taxes are lower, regulations are lower, when evil is crushed in the world and freedom is proclaimed, if you don't see that, then you are so out of your effing mind, you need to commit yourself. You need to commit yourself, Democrats. Right now, we have a chance for freedom in the Middle East that the world has not seen forever. Right now, we have a president who has gone in and killed a mastermind, a criminal mastermind who has killed hundreds of American soldiers with his designs with regard to IEDs in Iraq. He has killed 1,500 people of his own people in Iran for protesting against the government in the last month. And you're bitching because Donald Trump killed the bastard. My God in heaven, you are broken. You are so broken. I'm so done. I had to start doing my podcast on my Facebook page, Rob Carson. Normally, I stay away from politics. I have a Rob Carson show page for that. I have been shut out of it by Facebook because of my political views. This is the only venue other than YouTube and Range Broadcasting that I have the opportunity to share my thoughts. Years ago, I posted a couple of political posts on my Facebook page, Rob Carson, and all of my glorious friends, all of my friends who I love so much, unfriended me. I had many friends. Most of my friends are liberal, and I've never been able to express myself because somehow it's bad. That if I express myself as a conservative, I either get shut down at an argument or at a gathering. I get shut down, shouted down. I have to leave. And all of my friends who I love so much, because I started to express myself politically, have unfriended me. Okay? I did music radio forever. Hello, John. Hello, Carol. Hello, Michelle. Glad to have you guys here. Henry, Finn, what's up, my friend? I left music radio about 7 years ago. I had written for Rush Limbaugh for 20 years. If you ever listen to Rush Limbaugh, I write comedy, and I was featured on Rush Limbaugh's program, and still am to this day, for decades. But I did music radio, and I sat in a box in Washington D.C. at WRQX. For a variety of reasons. One of them that was Norm Schrott was my agent. He was too lazy to give me another job. And I sat there and I played music, and everybody was happy when Rob Carson was playing music. But when Rob Carson expressed his political views, everybody decided not to be his friend anymore. My heart was always in talk radio, by the way. My heart was always in talk radio, and not just because of political ideology. I do other things. I have cooking videos and all this stuff. But the day that I outed myself as a conservative is the day that people no longer wanted anything to do with me online, on Facebook. And you guys you know who you are. I love you. I love you. We had New Year's Eves together. We had glorious days almost every day of the week. We stayed together, and nobody will have anything to do with me on Facebook now because I am expressing myself as a conservative. It's just sad. I don't, I've got friends. I never go on somebody's page and unfriend them because of their politics. Alan Hulula, you're a nice guy. Well, I'm not going to unfriend you because of your. Well, I don't know what you are, man. You're just a freak. But I've never unfriended somebody because of politics. I've never stopped following somebody because of politics. But that's happened to me. And it's ridiculous. Donald Trump took out a terrorist general, one of the most, the biggest names in terrorism in the history of the world. And Democrats have gone crazy because we assassinated him. And Joe Biden, who, by the way, has been wrong about everything in his career with regard to foreign policy. He's been wrong about everything. He is a failure. He has never done anything right. He has never had anything right with regard to foreign policy. He's never made a decision that was right. We've got a president right now who's saying, okay, I support the freedom-loving people of Iran. He's doing right by China. He's doing right by the Iran and the Iranian nuclear deal, which was a joke. Joe Biden has never gotten anything right. Here's Joe Biden talking about how the killing of this terrorist After years of taunting and killing Americans, the killing of this terrorist is bad, and this incompetent boob approaching 80 years of age, honestly, wow. Joe Biden, this is not about age. The man is just incompetent. Here he is talking about, I keep saying Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, with regard to killing of this Iranian general Soleimani, saying he's incompetent.
6 months ago, here in New York City, I made the case that Donald Trump was dangerously incompetent and incapable of world leadership. And the past few days, in the wake of the killing of the Iranian general Soleimani.
How much was your soul? How much, I want to ask Democrats, how much is your soul? We took out an Iranian general. It wasn't a wag the dog situation. When Bill Clinton was under investigation for banging Monica Lewinsky in the White House, committing perjury, he wagged the dog. He bombed an aspirin factory. This isn't bombing an aspirin factory. This has been going on for months. The U.S. has wanted to take the son of a bitch out for 15 months. For 15 months. Let me find the story here. Donald Trump says Soleimani wanted to blow up multiple American embassies. Okay, he did. Let me find it. Hold on. For 15 months, the United States of America has wanted to take out Soleimani. They did take him out. It wasn't a wag the dog situation. It was just they needed to take the bastard out. He was in Baghdad to witness the fall of the embassy and probably take hostages like they did in 1979, kids. Or just kill everybody like they did in Benghazi. And it didn't happen. And here is Joe Biden, who's never been right about anything, who is crooked as the day is long.
I think Donald Trump has proven beyond that comment, beyond dispute.
Really. Not at all.
The haphazard decision-making process that led up to it, the failure.
It was 15 months, actually. It was 15 months that the president had been in office. Half of his term in office, they've been wanting to get this guy. So it's not haphazard. It didn't come out of anywhere. It didn't just suddenly, wasn't trying to distract from anything. Again, you're wrong, Joe Biden. You are so wrong. You've always been wrong.
To consult with our allies or Congress.
Why would you consult Congress when they leak everything? Why would this president consult Congress on anything when a second-hand whistleblower attempts to take down the presidency on a phone call that this person never witnessed? Why in the hell would he consult Congress? A Congress that wants to take him out. Why would this president consult Congress when everything they've done since he took office was about impeaching him? From literally 10 days into his presidency talking about impeachment. Why in the hell would he attempt to inform any of these bastards about doing something good for America without tipping the hat to the enemy?
Reckless disregard for the consequences that would surely follow was, in my view, dangerously incompetent.
You are incompetent.
We have not heard a sober-minded explanation to reassure the American people that this decision and its consequences were thought through. No level-headed words meant to dial down the tensions and to take us off the path of conflict. No press conference or consultation with our Congress.
Consultation with Congress? Consultation? What's consultation? I know constipation. I know conversation. Is this a constipated conversation?
No. What we've heard so far from this president are tweets, threats, and tantrums. And however you may feel about American military presence in the Middle East, there's a right way and a wrong way to draw down our troops.
And you've always been part of the wrong way. When Barack Obama said, we're pulling out of Iraq, and he telescoped to the world when we were going to leave, consequently ISIS rised. Wow. Joe Biden, you are a fucking joke. Sorry, pardon the language. Apologize. You're a joke. By the way, he confused Saddam Hussein with Osama bin Laden during a rally in Iowa. Confused the two while defending his foreign policy record, even though he's wrong about everything. made the gaffe while responding to a voter who asked whether he could be trusted on foreign policy given he voted to authorize the use of military force in Iraq in 2002, cautioned President Obama against conducting the successful raid on Osama bin Laden in 2011. He said, President Obama, you should not go after Osama bin Laden. It was a layup. And even so, Barack Obama waited 24 hours. Even they knew where the bastard was. They took him out that night. They waited 24 hours. 24 hours. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Let me bring down the volume on the sound bites. Kirk, thanks for the heads up. Here is the president talking to Laura Ingraham about why he doesn't trust Congress. And I don't blame him. Okay, I'm going to bring down the volume. Tell me. I'll make sure that it is down.
I think it would have been 4 embassies, could have been military bases, could have been a lot of other things too. But it was imminent, and then all of a sudden, he was gone.
Why is Nancy Pelosi describing her briefing as dismissive and disdainful? Mike Lee said it was insulting, the intel briefing. What wasn't said to mollify the concerns of some of your strongest supporters, like Mike Lee?
Yeah, he is a great supporter. He's a friend of mine. He called me just a little while ago, and he said, I just wanted to get some more information. And he was, look, I've also had calls from some of the senators, some of the congressmen said it was the single best briefing. One person said they've been there for 10 years. It's the single best briefing they've ever had. One said 20 years, the single best military briefing they've ever had. I understand what Mike had. Mike wanted certain things said, and we just couldn't say them. We could probably say maybe individually to him, and he's certainly a trustworthy person.
Are you worried that the Democrats can't be trusted with classified information? Because that's kind of what it sounded like when Pence gave that interview and talked about sources and methods the other day.
I am worried about it. Certainly, I am worried about it. Can you imagine? Here we are, split-second timing, executed like nobody's seen in many, many years on Soleimani. Can you imagine they want us to call up and speak to crooked, corrupt politician Adam Schiff? Oh, Adam, we have somebody that we've been trying to get for a long time. We have a shot at him right now. Could we meet so that we can get your approval, Adam Schiff? And he'd say, well, let's do it in a couple of days. Oh, okay, let's meet in a couple. It doesn't work that way. Number one. Number two, they leak. Anything we give will be leaked immediately. You'll see breaking news. We're about to attack in 25 minutes or do something. And by the way, I'm not somebody that wants to attack. I probably...
And the thing is, the Democrat Party is so corrupt that they would leak something like this, even if it's to the detriment of the country. Mike McGinnis, hello. He says he's in the grocery line, the checkout line at the grocery store. Hello, Mike. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you, since 1989. Did that sound better, by the way? Kirk, you just mentioned that the audio level was high on the pieces of audio that I'm playing. Did that sound better? Just real quick. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I've had some real issues with my studio, and I am trying so hard to make it sound great. And if the video clips are still loud, I'm going to have to get an engineer in here because I swear to God, it's just like, what the hell? Photos taken by U.S. Special Operations show Qasem Soleimani's personal effects and twisted wreckage after the drone strike that killed him. They drove by because they wanted to make sure he was not nearly dead. He's mostly sincerely dead, quoting from The Wizard of Oz. Apparently, he had his personal effects, some money, wallet, a book of poetry. You know, what was his book of poetry? I suppose it was like, I am Qasem, I am. I like to blow up things with bums. What the hell? Really, a book of poetry. Here's the truck. I think they could actually.
صور
سيارتي مخرجات
وقع عليها؟
والله ما يمكن يا ربي شو الدهمات
شلون وقع عليها؟ لا
شلون مسدود
شلون تحترق؟
توقع عليهم
لا واقع
ايه يا ستار
لا وقعت على هذه السيارات
طلعها من ليفلهم ما
Even a, it'll be fine. It's fine. Him, no buffing. There's no buffing is possible because he's toast. They blew him up. Ilhan Omar, the representative who's just a psycho. The other day I'd mentioned that she said she was stricken with PTSD with the thought of war with Iran, and she went on to this woman is just... Here's her the other day talking about war, the possibility of war with Iran again. She supports Iran. She's a rabid anti-Semite. Here she is talking the other day, snickering with Rashida Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the background, while Sheila Jackson Lee, who, by the way, is such a doofus. Here's the raw footage.
Every time I hear about I hear of conversations around war, I find myself being stricken with PTSD. And I find peace knowing that I serve with great advocates for...
Your voters have PTSD. That she would say that is amazing, because she's a spoiled millennial, 20-something POS, who was banging the snot out of one of her campaign workers and divorced her husband. Her husband ended up getting remarried 30 days later.
For peace and people who have shown courage against war. We caution against war because our allegiance to this country and our oath to protect it. Sending teenagers to die or return with lifelong wounds, seen and unseen, is not what it is to...
This woman is so, inarticulate and ignorant. Her voice is still too loud. Alan, is it still too loud? What am I doing here? All right, here's a little bit more.
Carry out our oath. Risking a regional or even global war is not what it means to carry out our oath to protect the American people. I always say war does not have a reset button. Oftentimes, people deal with oppressive, regressive, dangerous leaders. War is never the answer to saving more lives.
No, sometimes war is the answer. Sometimes war is the answer. A lot of the times people have said that war is not the answer. Give peace a chance. No. Sometimes war is the answer. Sometimes war is the answer. There's a reason for it. Actually, there are some reasons for it. Thanks, Mike. Sounds good. Sounds better? Sounds better? Okay. Wars are started by conquering countries frequently. Wars are ended by people who say, F you, it's over. Wars that we've been involved in have been to free people. This stupid, grotesque, ignorant woman has no clue that she's regarded as some sort of sage, is a joke, because she's been on the planet for so few years. Honestly, wow. Kirk, hello. I use voice text. Does everything sound okay, by the way? Just going to check real quick here as I take a sip from my sparkling ice and caffeine beverage. This is a product. I have a good buddy who actually helps to promote this. This is a wonderful thing. Sparkling ice. It is blue raspberry with antioxidants and vitamins and caffeine. I love this. It's so good. It's so good. 5 calories. And I drink it all the time. Not all the time. One a day. Very partial to the blue. I love the blue raspberry. Love the blue raspberry. Okay. Can I see some love on the, give me some emojis. Give me some love on the page here. I would love to see some emojis. Who's watching? Who's sharing? It would be awesome. Let's see here. I want to tell you something about a product that I love. See this right here? These are Dots pretzels. Okay, Dots pretzels are available in grocery stores up and down the I-29 corridor, the Midwest, available in the Southwest, coming presumably near you. This giant, they have a 2-pound bag. It's like $10, and it's worth every freaking penny of it. These are the best pretzels ever. Look at all the love. Look at all the people watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dots pretzels are a gift from God. I mean, they are the best pretzels ever, and I don't promote things I don't really like. I love my blue raspberry, sparkling ice. Love it, love it, love it. Dots pretzels are unbelievable. They are buttery. They are oniony. They are garlicky. If I saw you eating one and dipping it into mustard, I would smack it out of your hand before it got to the mustard, and I would literally pick it up off the floor and eat it. Because don't insult the pretzel with anything to adulterate it. This pretzel is perfect. Dots pretzels are perfect. They're amazing. If you can't get them where you are, go to their website. Look up Dots pretzels, D-O-T, apostrophe S, because Dot is the name of the woman who created them. They're the best pretzels ever. Get these pretzels. You've got to have them in your cabinets. I'm just saying. When my wife brings them home, she does a part-time job at Ace Hardware, and she will bring a bag of these home, and it's like Christmas every time she brings them because they're so darn good. Dots pretzels. Dots pretzels. Oh, my gosh, they're glorious. They are glorious pretzels. They really are. I mean, I've had a lot of them. I tried a lot of pretzels. I've had them all, and generally they were, nothing against the other competition. I'm not going to mention the competition, but they're a salty, typical pretzel rod, pretzel stick, blah, 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 and they're just okay, and you put mustard on them to cover up the taste and for it to be a mustard delivery system. That's what they really are. That's what most pretzels are. They're a mustard delivery system. But Dots pretzels, just leave them alone. Just put them in a bowl. They are so damn good. They are so damn good. Okay. I got a bunch of stuff here, guys. I've been on for a while here, but there's just so much to get to. Oh, Donald Trump at Toledo. This is pretty funny. Donald Trump responding to the Democrats with regard to killing the terrorist Iranian general Soleimani. Here he is giving the Democrats what for.
We have this tremendous military, and you know what that is? That's really a great fighting force, but I hope we never have to use it. I really do. You saw an example. You saw an example of that a couple of days ago. So we seek friends, not enemies, but if you dare to threaten our citizens, you do so at your own grave peril.
Come on, baby. Come on. By the way, Alan says that this is the first time I've watched your show while smoking a cigar. Alan, what are you smoking, brother? Is it something good? You're making me very jealous because I can't smoke in my studio. If I could, I would, but my wife would kill me. Enjoy the cigar, my friend. Here's a little bit more from the president.
Soleimani was actively planning new attacks, and he was looking very seriously at our embassies, and not just the embassy in Baghdad, but we stopped him, and we stopped him quickly, and we stopped him cold.
Oh, it was pretty cold. Actually, it was kind of hot. It was really hot, and then it got cold.
You know, these are split-second decisions. You have to make a decision. So they don't want me to make that decision. They want me to call up, maybe go over there. Let me go over to Congress, or come on over to the White House. Let's talk about it. When can you make it? Well, I won't be able to make it today, sir. How about, let's say, in a couple of days? Oh, sure. Come on over. Now, we got a call. We heard where he was. We knew the way he was getting there. And we had to make a decision. We didn't have time to call up Nancy, who was not operating with a full deck.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. By the way, a professor in Massachusetts was fired after suggesting Iran choose 52 American cultural sites, including the Mall of America and the Kardashians' home. I don't think I'd be too upset about the latter. To Bob in retaliation for the U.S. drone killing of General Qasem Soleimani. Yashin Fanzi, an adjunct professor at Babson College in Wesley, where the hell that is, made his attempt at humor on Facebook last week and was fired summarily. Alan says there's a picture of the cigar on my page. Let me see if I can post it there. What kind of cigar are we having there, brother? Sounds good. Cigar sounds good. Chiefs are playing today. It's got to be a big game against the Texans. I think we're going to go ahead and leave this podcast at politics. What do you think? Should we end it at politics? Should I? I've got a couple of good stories otherwise that I could share with you. Oh, you know what? I want to share this, actually. I think this will be my last story of the day. This is pretty cool. I started off with a Christoph. God darn it. A Christoph. No kidding. Maduro? Is it a little Maduro? Is it a shorty? Is it a what? It is a, I don't think you do the little ones. I'm probably assuming it's a Churchill. I've never seen you smoke a larger cigar. So I'm assuming it's some sort like a Churchill, not necessarily a little one. Probably about a 40 gauge, maybe about 6 3/4 inches. Am I wrong? Do you remember, and I don't remember it, I mean, after I grew up, I watched Bullet with Steve McQueen. And I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, whatever that movie was that just came out a few months ago. I loved it. It was spectacular. And the guy who played Steve McQueen and all of the characters who played actors, including, not actor, but Charlie Manson, all of the people who played the players at that time were really, really good in that movie. Steve McQueen was at a party at the Playboy Mansion, and the guy who played Steve McQueen was brilliant. I don't think he even talked, but it was really good. But Steve McQueen was the king of cool. Okay. Steve McQueen was the king of cool. Well, if we could be as cool as Steve McQueen, my God in heaven, it would be incredible. But he had this movie called Bullet, Bullitt, and it featured a 10-minute car chase between him and a Mustang, a 68 Ford Mustang GT, and a Dodge Charger, which is another spectacular car. Now, apparently the owner of this car, he bought this car, Sean Kiernan, bought this years ago for $3,500. Okay? And Steve McQueen approached this guy, and he wrote this guy when he bought the car, He wrote the owner, and he said, "Hey, man, this is Steve McQueen. I would like to appeal to you to get back my 68 Mustang. This is in 1977. I would like very much to keep it in the family and in its original condition, as it was used in the film, rather than have it restored, which is simply personal with me." Kiernan never responded. What a douche. Apparently they used this car. They used this car as a daily driver. This family bought this car from the movie. They used it as a daily driver until the alternator went out. Well, guess what? They just sold the bastard. They just sold the car for $3.4 million. $3.4 million for this Mustang. Unbelievable. Here's a little bit of the trailer from the movie Bullet 1968 when I was a toddler and most of you weren't alive. So much cooler then. People were so much cooler then. I mean, look at this. This is so stylish compared to, what's going on in popular culture today.
Detective Lieutenant.
Listen, I hate the 60s. Don't get me wrong. I hate the 60s, but damn, Steve McQueen was awesome.
Frank Bullitt, some other kind of cop. Pity the guy he works for.
Lieutenant, don't try to evade the responsibility.
Don't try to evade the responsibility.
In your parlance, you blew it.
What the hell?
God, he's so badass.
Is going on here? A high-speed pursuit? 2 men are killed? An officer in the hospital? A witness almost murdered?
Captain Baker would like to have a word with you.
Now listen to me, Lieutenant.
All right, nail him. I want him written off.
Do you let anything reach you? I mean, really reach you? Or are you so used to it by now that nothing really touches you? You're living in a sewer, Frank.
He has not said a single word for the entire trailer, but he's cooler than you and I will ever be.
Day after day. With you, living with violence is a way of life. Living with violence and death.
The way Frank Bullett's swinging, you know he's heading for a crash with that roar of official disapproval. But when some rare Chicago blood starts spilling in San Francisco, they hand Bullitt the mop.
Now, what went wrong, Lieutenant?
Who else knew where he was?
Those are the first words of the entire trailer. Very cool. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do now is go cook. I've got some things I want to do today. Alan, I want to thank you for joining me. Kirk, all of you guys who joined me today. Carol and Parker and Mike McGinnis. Hello. Thanks for joining me today, guys. I do appreciate your checking out the podcast. I just threw it together this morning. I'm casual today. I didn't even take a shower. Just threw a hat on. If you can support me, right up here, patreon.com. It is a website that you can sponsor artists. I consider myself an artist, I guess. Loosely, if you could give me $1 or $2 a month or $5 or whatever, just go to patreon.com. Also, these are my politically incorrect designs available at tpublic.com/conservatees, tpublic.com/conservatees. I don't care that you're offended. Veganism is an eating disorder. Trump 2020. Hillary in 20 never. Socialism sucks. Biden 2020 is really funny because when a woman wears it like that, it looks like he's reaching around her. And, Anyway, check those out. They are tpublic.com/conservatees. I'd appreciate it if you check that out. Let's see here. Kirk says, the interesting thing about Iran is their population is very young, so there's a lot of hope that they will take change into their hands from the old ruling class. I think I had heard that they may be one of the youngest populace per capita in the world. It's been that way for a while, by the way, Kirk. It's been that way for a while. Let's hope that the freedom takes hold, and I think this president is going to make it happen. For those of you paying attention, I did a smoked salmon today. I'm doing a chicken buffalo dip for tonight. We've got some friends coming over. What else am I going to make? Oh, I'm making homemade French fries. I got a new attachment for my KitchenAid mixer, and it slices vegetables, so I'm doing homemade French fries. For those of you who want to check out my cooking videos, and I've got 100 cooking videos or more, monkeyc.com, monkeyse.com. And, of course, you can watch my Facebook page, Rob Carson, my Instagram page, Rob Carson Show, blah, 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 blah. In the meantime, thanks for joining me, guys. I really do appreciate it. Carol and all you guys, thank you. Bless you for watching. I wish you all the very best in the new year, and let's just watch the Chiefs kick some mother effing ass today. How does that sound? Does that sound good? All right. Have a glorious day. God bless you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.